Hey, today we're going to talk about my favorite subject, which I call swing limits. So there's no better feeling knowing that when you wake up in the morning to go play golf, so that you're going to play well. There's no better feeling of hitting good golf shots down the fairway. Years ago, I was frustrated because I lost that. I was confused, I was frustrated, and then I met Mo Norman and learned the single plane swing. And so now I wake up every day and I know I'm going to hit it well, I know I'm going to play well, I know I'm going to have fun. So my mission today is to help as many people as possible wake up every day feeling good that they're going to go out there and play great because of the single plane swing. My favorite thing is to think about a golf swing that you can't screw up. I know we all want that, right? So, but the answer to that is taking the human body and using it in a way that creates limitations on the ability to move. So what does that mean? And this is in our golf schools, we have this discussion. You got to be careful not to get too technical with all this stuff. People are like, oh, you're boring me to death with the technical stuff. Just show me what to do. I'm kind of like that too. Just tell me what to do. But this is a vlog and I can talk to you about this stuff. And if you're interested, you might find this very intriguing, and so the question becomes this, and I want you to think about this just for a second. I want to create a mistake-proof golf swing, but what does that mean? What it means is I want to step up and by the positions I put my body in, have it where it can only go so far. And then, which means if it only goes so far, I don't have to worry about how long the backswing is. I don't have to worry about where I get to at impact. And then if I make sure that the positions get me to a perfect impact and I can create limits around my ability to swing, I can create a mistake-proof golf swing that moves in the most efficient way possible. I'm going to show you today how I do that because there's limits everywhere in the golf swing. There's limits in your backswing, there's limits at impact, there's limits on the way through. If you're into this stuff, and if you really care about the golf swing, I get guys on the channel all the time that are arguing with me about swing stuff. And look, I don't like theoretical stuff a whole lot. I'm a quantifiable guy. I don't like to say things that I haven't measured. I don't like to talk about things that aren't real. So I'm not just making this stuff up. Even Mo Norman, I had to measure, by the way. I don't take anything Mo Norman says for granted. Half the stuff he says isn't accurate either. So I measured everything. And let me show you how the swing actually works and how you can produce a swing full of limitations that create a perfect swing motion, which is my favorite subject, by the way. Talk about address position, all right? So at address, you're positioning the body. Obviously, this is the single plane address, and you see the tilt of the body, the lead arm alignment, and the trail arm alignment. So you're establishing a relationship. Notice the relationship's important because the club points to the lead side of my body is tilted, and my arm is in a range limitation already. So my lead arm is already in a range limitation, which means the forearm is maxed out. The trail hand is underneath, so it's in an underneath position. It's in a non-rotational position. So you can see, right at the very beginning of the motion, I have a highest percentage chance of getting the club to impact just from where I set up. The lead foot, and we're just going through it here, the lead foot has a rotation because it's going to limit the knee. The trail foot is turned more in because it's going to limit my backswing. Notice, again, the positions of my body are establishing the baseline for creating limits right from the beginning. So as a side note, let me just tell you about this. As a side note, you can't take this stuff for granted. I see people all the time, they just stand straight out. Look at their feet, straight out. So now they've created too much of a limit. Their trail foot's turned in. Now you have too much limitation. And this is what I see what people do in the swing is they don't pay attention to the minor details. All right, so we got the address position, right? We got the foot position correct. We got the limitation of the lower body. We got the lead arm limitation, trail hand non-rotational. Okay, we're on the single plane. Let's go into the backswing. When I start making this initial movement in the backswing, I'm bracing against the trail leg. There's a limit, right? It's only going to allow me to rotate so far. But that's not the only limit because I'm side bent and forward bent. See, I have a rotational limit as well. So if I have a limit here and a rotational limit here, the only thing left to go are the hands and the arms. That creates a limitation. So now my backswing is also limited.
This is where I see huge mistakes because people are trying to take the club to a certain point. Don't do that. Hit your limits. So go like this. Just set up correctly, hit your limit, and hit your limit. And you know, Mo had a term for this, in and up. Well, the up starts when you hit a limit in that backswing, all right? So the backswing has a limit. Let's talk about the downswing. So now I'm in the backswing and I've reached the limit. I can't go back any further. I stabilize, remember the foot position? I start to rotate, and because of side bend, guess what? I hit another limit. And what's happening here is my pelvis, because my knee is flexed and my foot is down, I'm getting a limit out of my pelvis. I can't go anymore. The side bend of the torso and rotation, look at that. I can't go anymore. So guess what? The club then keeps going because of my hands and arms. I make contact with the ball because of that limit. And this is very limited here. When I'm here, I'm limited here. So what happens is then my head moves. I'm going through this without much detail. What's so important about this is it's the positions that I'm hitting. 1, 2, limit, 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 contact, limit, let the head move. And all those things. So I guess my point to this whole video is, and I'll hit a couple of shots for you, is that don't think that when your body is stopping at a certain point that it's a bad thing. If it's in the correct positions, you're doing the right thing. My golf swing, it's so repeatable because I'm in position hitting my limit. So watch this. I start out with correct position. I'm gonna hit a limit here. I'm gonna hit a limit here. I'm gonna fire the golf club down. It puts it in sequence. Here we go. I've trained my body. I talk about this. The foot stays down because it creates a limit. I brace against the leg. It creates a limit. I'm in the proper tilt. It creates a limit. Limit, 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 limit. And now, here's what you end up getting. Because I'm in position hitting these limits, you get sequence. And when you get sequence, guess what you can have? Speed. So now, let's talk about speed. So now, I'm gonna go through these limits, and I always tell people, I don't care how fast you swing the club. Matter of fact, swing as fast as you can within your limits, right? Go as fast. I don't like the whole thing about go slow and then fast, or a slow backswing and a fast downswing. That's a bunch of crap, because if you're in good positions and all you have is your limits, do this. Just set up correctly and hit your limits. And when you do that, it's a perfect timing, perfect ratio, and you can hit the ball hard and fast. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that content today. Give me a thumbs up, click the bell icon. We'll talk more about limits. It's my favorite subject.